Hello everybody. I will make a very interesting video here since guys, I've worked in both public sector and private sector before, and I would like to express my thoughts on this because I had the experience, so maybe it would be easier for you to choose which one to aim for when you're doing a sub search or having to weigh all these pros and cons, so you can make the decision what is best for you. I mean, depends on your personality type actually, like this question, because everyone's personality is different, and there are some specific morals or maybe some relocation issues that are very influential while you're making this decision. So it has to be very well thought through. And without further ado, let's jump right into this topic. Let's start off with the public sector because not many of you maybe know about this sector. Since I was googling about it, I think it's around like 10% of people are working in public sector. So one person in every like 10 person. So it's pretty low number, to be honest. And you will have much more job openings in the private sector. But let's see if we can make this decision, or I can help you to make this decision. Maybe you want to study something but you're not sure if you'll finish your master or finish your PhD, then this video can be very helpful for you as well. So let's see. So as for public sector pros, so pluses about the public sector is the first thing I saw there while I was working was that I had assured stable payments. So that's something really nice because every day you don't have to worry about when are you going to get paid and if somebody's making an error, because they're always going to be paying you at a certain date. And of course in private sector today's world also has this, but in government it's different, in government agencies and all this. Also, for those that don't know, public sector is all this, also like police and firefighters, everybody like that. It's very wide topic, so it's policemen, firefighters, usually like even doctors, unless it's a private hospital or something. Maybe even these teachers and guys that are basically paid by the government. There's also, I think government is very involved in the decisions for the railways, so it's also in this topic there is a lot of government stuff going on and construction topics, everything like this, even the radio frequencies and stuff like that. It's a lot of things that government is working on, all these insurances for the pensions, for also this maybe there is some tax, or not tax, but I mean the support that the government is paying for you to have kids and stuff like that. Anyways, government is very wide. It's not only that it's the parliament and that's it. It's more wider than that, and it all comes from the taxes, their income, and investments sometimes. So yeah, assured stable payments. That means that you don't have to worry about when are you going to get paid or if you are going to get paid, because sometimes in the private sector, they are like saying to you that our company is doing very badly and we have to lower your salary or something like this. But in government it doesn't happen like that usually. It's very stable, or this information is displayed way before that happens, so you know how to make your decisions beforehand. And the other thing that I've noticed is that once you get sick by doing your job duties, you're going to take a sick leave because you got some sickness from the job, from the office. and there's other people also that had this, then they're still going to pay you for the sick leave because you got this disease while you were basically doing your work tasks. So that's also one thing, that government is actually paying for this. In the Western society, of course, there's many governments that are, very dictatorship like Russia. But I mean, in Western society, it usually happens like this, and it never happens in the private sector. I haven't seen it that when I'm going to take a sick leave, that somebody's going to pay me some support from this, because in the private sector they are saying to you that, oh, we cannot prove that you were getting sick from the fulfilling your job duties or something like this. But the government, they don't really have time to argue with that. If everything is correct and issued correctly, then they're going to check these things by themselves, and they have people for this. That's why I want to bring out this assured stable payments here. You will know that you have stuff like this, and if the salaries in the public sector rise, it's not that only like one salary is like rising when all the country has made this decision. It's more than one. In private sector, it might be that, oh, this guy is doing a great job, and then even though the others that are also doing a great job are not getting this salary raise, because they already give the budget away to this one guy. But in government, it's more like distributed. If they're making budget decisions, they are going to distribute it to all the workers in the department. And of course, they're doing it nowadays in private sector also. But I think it's a little bit more unequal, because it's somebody that is in their mind doing the better job is getting more higher salary raise. Maybe this guy or girl was just very good talker, and not doing actually anything, but just kissing gas of the boss, and then because of this she got like this salary raise. But in public sector it's different. It's not like this. Then what we have number 2 is that there's less cuts, because I think the government, first of all, what they are doing is that they try to minimize the cuts in the public sector, and more like raise the taxes for the private sector is the first solution here. So yeah, it would be like their first solution is to raise the tax, so the private sector will pay more and more money to the public sector, and if it doesn't work out, or people start to get uneasy and stuff like this, going to the streets, then they're going to do some cuts in the public sector also. However, they are not doing as many, because in this if you see like big news nowadays, that this company was like laying off 50% of their workers in government. It doesn't work like this. If they're doing cut, it's not 50%, it will be like 10% or something like this. It will be different from the private sector. Private sector has always more cuts than public sector, because everybody is defending their own business, and public sector is the easiest to defend, because they are making these decisions, they are making the laws, and also they are necessary, because you wouldn't be running a country without the parliament. You can, like in Russia, but it will be very bad. So you need a constitution, and you need police force, you need everything like medical force to help your citizens. You will need all those things. You need teachers to educate your kids, everything like this. So they cannot do that many cuts. If you are making cuts like in medicine, for example, and there's no like that many private hospitals, or I think even prisons in Europe is like government owned, then where are you going to put all those prisoners, or like if you're making cuts there? They might be going really badly. They might have starting a prison riot and stuff like this. People die, people get hurt, sorry. and so on. So yeah, I think one of big pros of the public sector has been that there's not so many cuts in there, uh, and you don't have to be that worried all the time about your job or keeping your job. So yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to mention here. And then number three is that it's a closed system and it opens you new doors. Once you get into the public sector, there will be more public sector jobs opening to you because the documentation is really different from what it is in the private sector. Like in private sector, I can send out an email just to say like okay. I don't have to say anything else, just to reply like okay, thank you or something like this. But in public sector, it doesn't work like this. It works like you have to be very formal with your documentation, and once you have this skill to be that formal with your documentation, it opens you new doors to be working for new government agencies and even in the border and stuff like this. It's you can be like a toll agent or something like this when you have worked in I don't know, some kind of let's say this kind of a support department that gives supports to the kids, and you can still be like a toll agent even when you have done that. So it's a really different system. It's a closed system, and it's not that easy to make cuts. It's not easy to overthrow the government. It is like this. It has been this for hundreds of years now, and even in the medieval times, those guys that are actually like rich and working for the government or like kings, like fighting for the king, being their personal bodyguards, have always lived the best life. So yeah, it's very historical also. And what else is a very good pro is or plus for the government sector is the time and less stress. As you can see from this photo, you can be very laid back and relaxed because you will have time to make breaks. You have less stress because of it. You don't have to always come home after work and then go straight to sleep. You don't have to do that. You can actually like cook yourself a nice dinner. You can go to the gym, work out there without having like at all stress, basically at all. It's very very nice. It's actually more important than some of these, but I mean, I was just putting out the pros in very chaotic order here, but anyways, it's important to mention that all these pros exist here. And what else is interesting about the government is that since it's taking so much documentation, they usually have like a deadline to reply to some kind of documents. And this deadline allows you to be more flexible in your time management. I've worked in sectors before that was, you were always making the decisions for this day or next day in the private sector, but in the government you're making the decisions like, I don't know, like a month ahead, or even maybe sometimes even many months ahead, even years ahead. And you might have a lot of these things to do at the same time, but you can, if you are good at time management, it's very very good for your mental health. I think it's a very good way and a very good pro that I've seen in the government sector, in the public sector, sorry. And yeah, and number five is that the job might be meaningful. If you're working as a policeman or if you're working as a doctor, it's meaningful. You are helping people. You are helping them to be healed, give them some medicine, make them to feel better. Even as a police, you can fight against the terrorism in your country. Very very meaningful things to do. I mean, who would want their kids to go to school to somewhere that they got like treatment for a bomb attack or something like that? So I mean, if these things happen, then it's very bad, and you don't feel safe in your own country. But if you are one of these policemen that can actually do something about it, that okay, we have a problem with this, let's go fight against it, let's do something with it, or I don't know, some kind of saviors that are I think in US right now there was this storms was it how was it called, Milton or Helena or something like this. But anyways, those storms, they will have this rescue force. Of course, some of them are like made out of volunteers, but the core of them might be from the government, and they are going to help people. They are going to save people. It will be more meaningful than in the private sector usually. So that's what I also want to point out, that whatever you do is for the safety of your people, of your country, and stuff like this. So yeah. And benefits, like I know in the army there's this earlier retirement age. In the police force, I think it's as well. Somehow the government might have more holidays. So yeah, it might be having those benefits that are also can be a pro for you, because if your retirement age is decreased by 10 years, is a very big difference, and you might be considering it just because of this. Very, very important. Yeah, and then we're going for the public sector cons also. There's a lot of stuff to do. Okay, sorry about that. There was, yeah, I was interfered a little bit here. But anyways, let's go for the public sector cons then. First of all, you will hear it a lot of times when you're working in public sector. You are spending taxpayers' money. Now, that's always going to be like this. You will have to accept it in your mind, because otherwise you cannot work in the public sector if you don't accept the taxpayers' money to pay for a salary. If you're working for some kind of like government office, or as a teacher, or as an artist that gets funds from the government, or even in the this TV show host or whatever, filming these TV shows, you are going to get paid from the taxpayers' money. And there becomes the question of morale, if you can do it. Because sometimes you might think that, why I'm spending the taxpayers' money? Like, I don't want to spend the other people's money because it doesn't feel right to me. And that's true. Because everybody, whenever they go buy some stuff, or live in their just live in their apartments, or even go out, and whatever deal do they make with the money, there is going to be some tax out of it, unless you're doing some dirty business. But then maybe the last point that I was assured stable pay might be very important in this case. The question of morale comes into play, and it's really bad. But sometimes you don't feel like it's right to, if you're going, sometimes you need your, let's say that the collective, your co-workers and your department needs to do the, have a lunch together or something like this. This is something that should you really have for the taxpayers' money. But they are doing the same in the private industry. They are going to have lunches there also to boost their team vibe and stuff like this. It's about that. And the question of morale also, some kind of experts to the government in general. I think even in the US Congress, there's these guys that are called advisors, that are giving advice for them to make the decisions. They all have those guys. And if you are this kind of advisor, then is it your expertise enough to spend that much of taxpayers' money, if it's enough to get paid that much, and maybe you use your expertise like once in a month, and that will be it, and you get paid a lot because of this. So yeah, it's a question of morale is very important here, and you will have to make some tough decisions in your life that you will have to accept it that you are actually spending taxpayers' money, and it's better that you spend it for the good cause, like support your own family and support your own transportation and your apartment that you live in, to support all this instead of like having party around and etc. So yeah, it will be like this. And the second thing that is it's also like sometimes you might not have some friends that are telling you that, oh no, don't work there, I have to pay for you to work there or something like this. But the second con here is documentation. Now we all know that there is insane amount of documentation and documents still in the world that needs to be stamped, signed and everything. It will be a mess, it will be chaos. It will be like in this photo that you're going to be like help, and this will be no matter basically where you work, and even as a I think in like as a policeman, as I was bringing out all the time, even there you will have to fill some papers because you arrest warrant or I mean this whatever they are filling out, this document of offense that this person made in there. It takes time, and you will have to justify it, everything like this. You will have to get maybe this chief of police force signature there to send it out to some kind of other guys, and there are some regulations that are telling you that, oh, you also have to notify these guys and that guys about this crime. It will be a mess. It will be a long work. So one of the tasks, even though this offender or this criminal has already been arrested, you will still have to fill their documentation afterwards, or deal with some stuff with these. And they are going to be held in an archive that you can see from the Hollywood movies. That's going to be this archives in the basement, and this old guy there is going to find your way into there, and you can check some document or something like this. Anyways, it will be like this because there's a lot of documentation going on in the public sector, and everything needs to be formal. It cannot be just some like okay bye and okay well thank you and stuff like this. Cannot be like that, because it can also go to the court. Then it will go to the sentences. That's why they are waiting for a long time to get in the prisons that are waiting for some kind of documentation to catch up with their stuff like this before they have the court case and so on. Yeah, it will be like this. And unnecessary trainings also is because when you work for government, people are paying taxpayers' money for you. You better be an expert here, because if you are not an expert, then then why are you working there anyways? You will need to show that you are even if you're a teacher, if you have necessary education and stuff like this. And if you're a art person, you need to show that you have had those trainings, that is actually your art has been approved by many famous artists and so on. It's endless loop there also. There will be a lot of those things that you are not going to later maybe need in the life, but there will be very useful trainings also. But there might be a lot of these that they cannot even use well in the private sector. I mean, you had a training of this famous artist in the past. Yeah, well, nice to know, but you are not famous yourself, so why would we hire this painter to work for us if she's not famous enough yet? In the private sector, they would think like this, and might be that this training was completely useless for you. It turns out, but it might be also useful because sometimes this maybe this private sector's companies, like CEO, she's also like a big fan of this artist, and she might like it, and once you had training there, it might be actually useful for in her eyes. And yeah, number 4, we have idle work. That's very valid point here, because I think honestly there will be not so much work to be done like in the private sector. In the private sector, basically you are chasing every penny you are for your company, and you always have some work to do, otherwise they wouldn't keep you there. But in public sector, it might be that those experts that I was speaking about earlier, they might sort out the strategy or do some kind of analysis before, and maybe do this analysis for like a week, and then they're going to represent it for one day, and the rest of the month is for free. It's they have nothing else to do, but start to analyze maybe new things, what's happening in the news. But that's pretty much that you can actually like distribute it. You don't have to do everything in one day. That's why it's more like idle, because it doesn't need you to be there for like 8 hours a day and or 9 hours a day. I don't know how's the arrangement in your country, but yeah, it will be that you will have some points that you feel a little bit idle, and once you do feel a little bit idle there, then I highly suggest you to learn new stuff, read some new laws, stuff like this. Make sure that you know those laws that are connected with your agency or government official or whatever place, that non-profit organization or something like this. Yeah, make sure that you know all those laws, because that will help you out big time. And 5th point here is that wages might not catch up with the private sector. Now that's highly debatable, because in some countries the government pays a lot of money to their workers, and in other countries the private sector pays much more than the public sector, and etc. It would be also that I think maybe those teachers or people like art people might not get that much good wages than the other guys that are working for as an electrical engineer in this private company, for example. Yeah, so the wages might not catch up, and that's a valid point, because I think if the wages rise in the public sector, they rise pretty slowly. And the other thing is that, as I said before, it's going to be distributed, the budget. Nobody's preferred in this budget usually. It's more like it's distributed for all the departments. And that means that even if you're working like super hard, it doesn't matter, because in the private sector you will maybe get a good raise from this and get very good salary with this, but in the public sector it doesn't happen like this. There needs to be many links in between that before your salary can be raised there, and for a good reason also. And one more thing, 6th thing, is privacy issues actually, because basically the information needs to be public unless you are like top-notch secret service agent. It's then it's not going to be public. But I mean, all those guys that are actually head of police force, police chief that we mentioned before, even him maybe has to be in some news, or he's going to be followed, or every decision that he makes in the world might be highly followed, and so is going to be followed not only by the press and by the people that live in the country, the citizens, but also from his own police department, that they're going to see closely what he does every day, because he couldn't be there for just idle and sitting doing nothing there. He has to do some stuff, otherwise he will be maybe getting some court case himself. And yeah, that's what I wanted to point out, that those are the cons of public sector, in my opinion, that I've seen also. Privacy depends who you're working as, but the higher you go, usually the less privacy you will have. It will be having this correlation. And then let's go for the private sector, because many of you probably got private sector as they worked in, and worked before they continue working there. What is the biggest pros there compared with the public sector? Opportunity for high salaries, as I said before. Basically, if you're like this good worker, you might have the salary raise and nobody else might have it at the same time. Or you can negotiate a special deal with your boss that, hey, I'm doing a good job, maybe you will raise my salary. There's an opportunity for this. Of course, he might tell you to go and screw yourself, but at the same time, he might actually think that, oh, you're a valuable worker, maybe you can get a higher salary after all. But in today's world, I don't really think that they are doing that much anymore, because nobody is irreplaceable in the private sector, in my opinion. Depends what you're doing. Maybe you're doing some specific things like I don't know, nuclear power plant stuff or whatever. But it's very iffy. I mean, there's not so many opportunities for higher salaries. Usually they are considered in the budget, because I think in private sector is also moving towards the budgets and stuff like this. They are not going to want to bend their budget too much, because otherwise they will be in a loss, not in a profit. And profit is everything for the private sector. Remember that. It's everything there. Everybody's chasing for the profit. It's otherwise it wouldn't work. I mean, it works with like growing your turnover over time, all the time, getting new investments in, but only for so long, because at some point you will need to justify those investors that guys, what are you doing? So yeah, it's having those issues. And so the second point, not spending anyone else's money. You don't have to feel bad that your boss is paying you, because he or she is already calculated that, okay, we need to hire one more person here, might as well be you. It doesn't be like you're spending the whole country's citizens money in general or something like that. And number 3 is a chance for a good work environment. Like here you can see that you might have those two guys that are like getting along very well and actually doing very good work together, because in the public sector it might not be like this. There is not so many good ways to be friends there than it is in the private sector, because in the private sector right now the culture is that in all the work that I've seen is that they are making you feel like at home or as a friendly environment, which is not always going to be the case, but still they're going to even pretend to be a friendly environment. And yeah, you can get very good friends from the public sector and the private sector both, but I think in the private sector there's more chances for it. And yeah, number 4 is that you actually have your privacy there. You don't have to be a public figure. You can just do your own thing from 8 hours a day and get paid and not worry about those things. And also you can do more remote work, which I've seen that since you don't have to be that all the time out in the public, you can be at your home and do some work, get the work done there. But good work environment is usually suffering when you're doing remote work because you don't see your friends that often at work, or maybe you have to, make an appointment with them or something like that uh, to go out or whatever. So yeah, that's what I think is the biggest pros there. Honestly, there's not so much of them, but I mean, I brought out the most important for me. So there might be very many more of them that you might see yourself, and maybe you can leave down the comment that you saw also this thing and that thing. And yeah, let's go for the cons. Now, as you can see in the picture, I think that catch your eye very fast is you never know what's actually happening behind your back in the private sector, and I think it's the biggest issue there. Uh, they can basically just close door and speak everything behind the closed doors, um, and might be a bad thing. There's many cuts and restructurings. That's the main root cause for this. Is that as I said this example before, 50% versus 10% laid off, private sector versus public sector is a big difference. And once those restructuring and cuts happen, then this guy here that is your friend, is going to get cut from the workforce, and you might not, at some point you might run into a situation that you have no friends anymore there, and that would be a problem. Your lack of morale suffers, your like this high expectation that you had with your co-workers suffers, and everything like that. Restructuring the similar thing. He might be in a different department working there now. You might not see him every day anymore. It will be a problem. It's like almost like a long distance relationship, especially when you do like remote work or stuff like this. And that's why what I want to say is that meaningfulness is also low. That sometimes you feel like guys, I'm doing this job for my boss, but actually I don't see the goal like she does, because her goals in the company are much higher than mine, because mine is like, I don't care like how much profit are we making. I care about getting paid in this company and keeping my job in this company, and this profit that they receive is not meaningfulness for the world, because they might be not so environmentally friendly, or doesn't go together with my view of life. Stuff like this is might be that, or it's not going to help the citizens as much as like a police force or ambulance or people like this. The meaningfulness is not as high as in the public sector. You don't feel the impact of this in everyday's life, and that will be, sometimes people are searching for this kind of thing, that you have only one life, and if you are going to waste this life for something that is not meaningful, you're going to regret it later. Once you look back and you're like 60 years old or something, about to retire already, or 70 years old, and 70 years old, about to retire, and then see that, what have I done all my life? Have I like done anything meaningful in my life? And then you will be regretting that. Instead of, you can also like get those guys to the hospital with the ambulance, being an ambulance driver or something like this. It will be much more impact to this. And the third point is actually too much work. it's also connected with those restructurings, which is the main problem in the private sector. Is restructuring. I mean, basically, it means that you are going to get more work. Restructuring means that they are going to say to you that, hey, you know, we're going to restructure this because we don't want to cut anybody's place. So we generated like 30 job openings. And then you will realize that, you know, actually there was like 40 people maybe working there before, not 30 people working for this department. And now those 40 people, they want to go continue the job in this 30 people restructuring. So while you're doing your career choice, might be that you're competing against them and you are like lower part than they are. You're junior, they are like senior, and you didn't get the job, but they got the job. Let's say that these 30 people were selected and 10 of them were laid off because there was no more openings. That was the restructuring of the company. And now out of these 30 people that actually got those very wished positions, that was a very high competition, that actually also your employer can tell you, oh, we had a competition, we had at least 100 people like applying for this internally already, you know. And in this case, you had those 100 people, but you selected those that actually work for this kind of position. You just restructure in a way that you change the name of the position a little bit, but the duties are the same, plus some extra duties that they have. So even though they win at some aspects, that they kept their job there, they got more job that they need to do. And it ends up with having too much work in your hands. That means also, I'm not talking only about you know, the capacity of the work. I'm also talking about those meetings that they will have to do, because before they could distribute those meetings in 40 people that they have to participate in, but now if they selecting the participation, they have to be, you know, in those both of these meetings that the other guy was doing this job before, and they also have to be in his meetings also in addition to mine that I was in before already. And those meetings, they're wasting your time to do the real tasks also. So it might end up that your real tasks doesn't get done because you have too many meetings, and that will be a big issue in the private sector. That's what they're going to do very often there. I mean, once you have like you know, a teacher that is teaching like elementary school kids, and there is some distribution for it, that they have you know, 1 or 2 classes, or one of these classes is what they are the manager of, and you cannot really give them like 2 classes or something like that. Or maybe you can if there is a helper for her, but you cannot really give them 2 classes at the same time. But in the private sector, you kind of can do it. You can give other people a job to the other person. So that's what I want to bring out, that why I don't like private sector that much is because of this root cause of many cuts and restructurings. That's what I've seen. And then good salary is rare for juniors. That's how this private sector earns money. That's how they earn profit. Junior level entries and those that are even lower than junior level, the physical workers are getting paid like jack shit compared with the higher end workers. So the good salary is really rare once you are like getting into the company. You have to work there, prove yourself. You have to compete with all those 40 people that were restructured, that are applying also to these 30 other positions, and they will get selected first before you. So you end up not doing your career. I mean, of course, they can tell you that once they hire you, oh, you know, we have very good career examples and stuff like this. It might be this one person that they are going to bring out. However, it's just one person. Remember that. It's just one person. And I've spoken about this before, but undercover deals that are made is bringing us to this next point, the lack of trust in the private sector now. Of course, you can debate, you can have lack of trust also in the public sector, but in the private sector is very, very common. I mean, this guy here that is your friend, lack of trust. Who are you to him once you get laid off? Of course, he might be your very good friend and you might continue talking with him and stuff like this, but maybe you don't want to hear anything about this company because you were like laid off. So why would you need to be friends with this guy anymore? And that's what I want to bring you, that there's a lack of trust. As you can see, this lady is watching all those things, these guys that are speaking behind her back about her, and she's not getting involved to the conversation. That builds up the lack of trust. There has been so many cuts, and she's afraid that she will be next. It will be endless circle about this, endless loop about all these things, and all the loop starts with this, because the private companies, they are only oriented to the profit, nothing else. They are not your family. They are your work buddies, work, managers. They are not your buddies. I mean, they can be your buddies at certain extent once you work there and when you work there, but when it becomes, you can even work there for like tens of years, and then in the end they're going to say you that, oh, we're just firing you, we're not even going to lay you off because we're opening the similar position. I mean, they can backstab you very, very easily there. And just because they can explain it that, oh, you didn't earn so much profit, or at the first year you were doing much more work than the end of the year or something like this, because I see that you lack the motivation. That's very, very bad argument to bring it to the table, but it's an argument nevertheless, and they're going to bring you that. If it is in their interest. Of course, there's like some success stories and some good companies and some good managers that are actually not this backstabbing kind, or would never backstab anybody and keep everybody there. But usually what I've seen, the trend is that once you restructure everything, you might earning more profit, because once you only have those guys that have worked there for tens of years, they are obviously not motivated enough to do this job, and they will have a lot of opinions, very strong opinions in this job, how to do this job, what kind of means to do this job with. And sorry, I'm getting very tilted and carried away with this, but they will have those kind that they don't want to keep there because they have already become obsolete to them. And I've heard also stories that when I was working in the private sector, that one of these managers was actually like, a lot of her workers are like, going away from the company, because they said, okay, enough is enough. I've had enough of cuts and restructurings. I will just go by myself. So everybody went, and then it would be that they started to hire new people there. They get the new people, and they are motivated as hell out of themselves because they get the job, and they get the good job. I mean, not the good job, but they still get the job. They are already motivated to do this job. And then I was asking this manager that, was it difficult for you when this 10 people left? And she replied to me very honestly that, honestly, I'm kind of happy with the change, because now everybody's motivated and not everybody has their own opinion about how should I do my job or whatever should I do, and whatever needs to be focused on as well, like bringing out the bottlenecks, right? You never trust your managers, even if you're working there for a long time. Sometimes it's that the change might not be bad for them. It might be in their interest to change, and that's why you can never trust them too much. And that's where the lack of trust for me comes from, because actually I've been scammed by these things many times also, with the jobs, and that's why I'm bringing it out. That's why I'm doing it as my hobby, to kind of like give the message to you not to fall into the same traps that I did. And of course, we're also seeing the memes of the pizza party. These are the only benefits that you will get, basically. Is yeah, they're going to tell you that, okay, let's do a party, and I mean, they're going to pay you once for your like dinner, and not raise your salary every monthly, because it's better for them to pay you like once or twice in a year for your dinner than pay you, I don't know, 100 euros more every month. So they know all this, and that's why they are doing those pizza parties, because they pay less to keep you happy and show that everything is good, nothing to worry about. Okay, so now we have to make the decision. Public sector or the private sector, and I know I spoke already very badly about the private sector here. So which one to choose? As you can see, the money goes to the public office. And answer is, you should basically, when you're searching for the job, you should apply for both of the jobs, the private sector and the public sector. And if there becomes an opportunity from the public sector and opportunity from the private sector at the same time, then it would be better to prefer the public sector, in my opinion. That's what I've seen. And so, of course, you might have different values than I have. Maybe you prefer the pizza parties, maybe you prefer to have coffee and stuff available all the time, coffee and those fruits and whatever they are buying you with. Maybe you prefer those things, and a gym in there, and etc. There might be many things that you prefer, but for me specifically, I want to share my experience, and I think public sector honestly is, for me, it's much better than the private sector. Of course, the one difficulty of this is that once you work abroad, then there's no chance that you're going to get into the public sector there. I mean, there is a very slim chance for this. So it has to be while you're staying in your home country. Unless, yeah, you're going to EU or something like that, but I don't know. That's my conclusion for this. That was my ideas for this. Of course, you can debate with me, you can leave the comments, like the video, everything. Even dislike the video if you don't agree with me that much and you say that everything that I say is complete shite. But that's what I've seen, and that's what I felt like. So this is my personal opinion about it, and I hope it was very helpful for you. I keep on doing those videos very soon, and I think in the next week probably. And yeah, I will see you guys around. Thank you for watching, everybody that is actually watching this channel, and it's a huge support when even one guy can be having a nice experience from my videos, so they can find a good job that they like. It will be that my mission will be actually fulfilled, even if it's just one person. And thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.